The following is a presentation of TFNN. Time to talk about your health. Living a primal lifestyle.
You know, we have Tom from Tampa on the phone. Hey, Tom. Good morning. It's bright and early now, huh?
Hey, Paige. Good.
Hi, Tom.
How you guys doing, Nico?
Doing great.
Good. Hey, your newsletter's outstanding, man. I'm telling you, man, it is outstanding. And so is the Primal Edge. I love that stuff. I'd never be without it. I mean, I've been on it now 3-4 months, man. I mean, it's just, I can't get over how good I feel.
Primal Edge is, people are raving about it. People who are trying it, they know because you can feel it.
Would not be without it.
Call now, toll free at 1-877-927-6648. Internationally at 727-445-1044. Now your hosts, Nico Haan and Paige Clarke.
Well, hey, good morning and welcome to Living a Primal Lifestyle. This is where we explore a return to our balanced, natural, and wild world.
To recover our natural health and regain our rights and freedoms, I'm Nico Haan.
We're expecting a beautiful day here in downtown Clearwater. It's going to be clear and sunny, currently at 62 degrees. Hope you're having some good weather and getting out in it. Get some sun today.
Yeah, that's for sure.
Wherever you are. And make sure to pick up our Health Signals newsletter. We got some good stuff. There's an article on foods that prevent inflammation, because we know the brain getting inflamed is not a good thing.
Yeah, and it also enhances that brain function just because of the inflammation being lowered. So pick up the newsletter. It's only $10 a month, folks. You get it every first and third Tuesday of every month.
And while you're at it, really get connected with us and pick up our Primal Edge, our daily multi-nutrient nutrition. We have 310 cell-ready ingredients in whole food forms, powered by nature's miracle molecule, fulvic and humic acid. Get on the bandwagon with that.
That's right. It's liquid, so it's easy to take, and actually it tastes pretty good.
That's right. That's right. And if you're up and at it, we'll take your phone calls this morning at 877-927-6648.
Give us a call, folks.
Yeah, so Nico, you know, we do get up early.
Yep.
And one of our listeners sent me an email yesterday and noticed that I forgot my blue blockers.
Oh.
And thanks for paying attention. And you know, this is an early show, and we do get rocking and rolling 4:30, 5 o'clock in the morning to get here in time to get underneath all these studio lights. And yeah, I'm working really hard to protect my circadian rhythm and make sure my eyes aren't being bombarded with unnatural light any more than I have to. So I do believe in wearing my blue blocking glasses whenever that's the case. We were talking a little bit about we're seeing the street lamps change, and many of them are putting in LED arrays because they're more cost effective. But remember, folks, these lights that we're being exposed to and forced on us, they may not be the best thing for our health, and we're finding that many of these street lamps are really messing with people's eyes. So you might need to be looking at getting these glasses to drive even in the dark. You know, and that's what I do. So, but we're up and at it early either way. And one of our tools to getting up and being alert to get on this show is using a little bit of coffee. And
Cup of Joe.
That's right. And we got an article we want to share with you from Mark's Daily Apple. Mark Sisson is one of our favorite leaders and gurus, so to speak, in the primal living world. And here are 14 ways to make your coffee healthier.
Yeah, no, according to stats, more than 80% of the American adults use coffee to get up in the morning. Certainly I do. We're getting pickier, it says here, about what we drink. And a report released this year by the National Coffee Association found that for the first time in 67 years, more than half of all coffee consumed was classified as the gourmet type.
Yeah, we're starting to get very selective. And, you know, but let's be honest, what we really want to do, there's a lot of junk in that category. You know, many people are having a little coffee with their syrups and whipped toppings, and oh, for God's sake,
if you go to Starbucks, all the stuff that they're making with this
soy milk, you know, not a toy for the girl or the boy, and sugars galore. You know, many people are having these caramel macchiatos at Starbucks, and they're having more calories than most people should eat all day in their morning cup of joe. So let's, you know, this is kind of a shame. Let's look at and understand that coffee can truly be I call it a vehicle to deliver super nutrients. That's what I use it. And many times if I feel like I'm relying on it too much, I take a break and I feel great off of it. I can feel great on it. It just depends. So let's take a look at some things we can do.
Yeah, because there's certain coffees that you want to buy and other ones that you want to kind of stay away from. There's a lot of things in coffee that can go wrong. So if you're buying, first of all, organic, that takes the first step, I think.
That's right. Here's what you can do to buy the best brew.
That's right.
Me and my snicklets and my rhymes.
That's right.
So what is the best brew? You're right, Nico. Organic coffee. Because why? Why should it be organic? Because
They're spraying the heck out of these things.
they spray the heck out of coffee. It's a heavily pesticided product. And it's really good to find growers that are aware of good growing practices, so this doesn't have to be.
Yeah, and it seems like it's pretty easy to wash and roast these things, but really when you have all these pesticides on them, just because you're washing them and roasting them doesn't mean that these pesticides leave. It's toxic. So you've got to have the organic coffee so they don't spray these plants. It just makes a lot of sense.
That's right. So, you know, there are some studies that indicate organic coffee may be more liver productive and higher in health-promoting compounds than your conventional coffee. So there's research. So step it up a bit, buy a little better brew. The other thing that's a hot topic that really became popular with Dave Asprey's work, his own biohacking of himself, is that we want to look for coffees that are mycotoxin-free. Oh my goodness, what does that mean? Yeah,
they're kind of byproducts of fungi that grow virtually everywhere, and they really infest everything.
Yeah, so in the coffee world, there's really two types of mycotoxins. And they're known because of their fair share of health issues when they're ingested, and these are mycotoxin A and mycotoxin B. Thing A, thing 1, thing 2.
They're known as carcinogens.
Carcinogens, cancer causers.
I mean, it's a good idea to avoid them when you can, of course. But it's estimated that can contaminate about 25% of all foods.
Not just coffee.
Yeah, not just coffee. So, you know, here's another reason. If you're using the organic coffee, you're not going to have these in it. And then try to find the coffee that is more of a medium and a darker roast than the light roast. Although sometimes I think the light roast.
Well, there's some people that believe that the dark roast might have higher acrylamides, right?
Yeah, that's right.
So maybe we'll get into that. So we know that to get a better brew, we want to look at organic or biodynamic is a couple. You know, that's kind of following the Rudolf Steiner principles of growing, like Dr. Cowan. Dr. Cowan that has the biodynamic stuff. We're going to have him on the show one day. He's great. But now we want to look at not just being organic, but also mycotoxin-free. These are buzzwords that will help you pick a better brew. And, you know, as Mark Sisson says, he wouldn't stress about this point because coffee consumption appears time and time again to be protective against most types of cancer, and it shows a protective relationship with all-cause mortality. That's an important statistic that we've seen in research. And so I mean, and why is that? Because we realize that for many Americans, coffee is one of the prime sources that actually delivers antioxidants into the American diet. Sadly, due to the sad diet, coffee is the chief antioxidant.
And a lot of people don't know it's a fruit. You know, it's a little berry that's a fruit. So it's the fruit with the most antioxidants of all. So that's how we get our most of our antioxidants.
Well,
stick around, folks.
Yeah, guys, get right back with us. We're going to give you some more tips on how to pick a better brew to get your day going.
I'm going to drink some right now.
All righty.
You know what's cool? Taking something that's good for you. Something specifically formulated to help with weight loss, better sleep, stress reduction, and the need to detox.
Nico, our hunter and gatherer ancestors found all their nutritional requirements for health in their wild environment. But today, our food sources no longer contain the vitamins, minerals, and nutrients our bodies need to stay healthy and strong.
That's why we need Primal Edge Daily Nutrition. It includes a special blend of ionic, soil-based vitamins, minerals, fatty, and amino acids in an easy-to-use liquid form.
Primal Edge is powered by highly concentrated fulvic and humic acids, nature's preferred delivery system. They have been called miracle molecules because, like sunlight, air, and water, life cannot exist without them.
That's right, Paige. They ensure we receive all the nutrition we need to be healthy and thrive. We take it every morning.
Primal Edge, formulated and approved by Nico and Paige of Living a Primal Lifestyle. Buy it today for just $89. Click on the Primal Edge banner on the front page of TFNN.com. Platinum, grains, crude oil, gold, copper, cattle, hogs, gasoline, natural gas, coffee, cotton, cocoa, and sugar. These are just some of the commodities mentioned in the most recent issue of Andy Hecht's Techno-Mental Commodity Report. Andy publishes his weekly newsletter every Thursday morning, where he breaks down the commodity market and provides his subscribers with specific trading recommendations based on his trading methodology. By signing up for a free trial to the Techno-Mental Commodity Report, you'll get a full 30 days to try out this powerful newsletter service and see for yourself the types of trades Andy has recommended for his subscribers. When you sign up for a 30-day free trial, you're under no obligation to pay anything. And should you decide to continue, you will lock in the low rate of only $79 a month. Sign up right now for the Techno-Mental Commodity Report and make sure you're ready to catch the next big trade in commodities. For more information and to get started today, visit the front page of TFNN.com.
Will the S&P 500 continue to climb? For bold trades on U.S. large-cap stocks in either direction, trade SPXL, SPUU, or SPXS. Directions Daily S&P 500 Bull and Bear Leveraged ETFs. Direction Leveraged ETFs. An investor should carefully consider a fund's investment objective, risks, charges, and expenses before investing. A fund's prospectus and summary prospectus contain this and other information about Direction shares. To obtain a fund's prospectus and summary prospectus, call 866-476-7523 or visit directioninvestments.com. A fund's prospectus and summary prospectus should be read carefully before investing. An investment in the funds is subject to risk, including the possible loss of principal. The funds are designed to be utilized only by sophisticated investors such as traders and active investors. Distributor Foreside Fund Services, LLC.
Nico and Paige take your phone calls now. Toll free at 1-877-927-6648. Internationally at 727-445-1044.
And welcome back to the show. We're talking about coffee this morning and talking about sourcing. For a company to receive like the first trade certificate, they must employ strategies.
You mean fair trade?
Fair trade, excuse me, yeah. For environmental sustainability is one thing. It's possible that it could mean less chemical applications during the growing and healthier soils, which means it's going to be less toxic. It means it's going to be probably more nutrient dense.
True.
But that's probably speculation is what they're saying in this article. Either ethically, it's still not preferable for a coffee that isn't fair trade. So
yeah, either way, it is more ethical to support fair trade principles. I agree, Nico. And, you know, that being said, fair trade coffee isn't as well known for having high quality standards. So even though fair trade is a nice buzzword, so to speak, as an alternative, you could consider buying direct trade coffee. Okay, so this is
a lot
something
of these companies are doing this now, but a lot of them are doing both. That I'm seeing from the South American countries and Central America, Guatemala, and all these countries are not only in the fair trade, but a lot of them will reach out to American consumers directly.
Yes, exactly. You can get it shipped to your house.
Exactly.
Like, and another thing you might want to look at is single origin, which there's a decent amount of uncertainty, but the fact remains that drinking blended coffee makes it hard to determine whether the origins of your beans were good or not, and you know, so we really don't know. So, you know, many coffee connoisseurs argue that blends produce a tastier coffee.
Well, this is
with
kind of
more complex flavors, kind of like you know.
Well, we believe in that at our house, and what happens with our coffee, we buy.
Oh yeah, you buy it and you put it in a big container.
Yeah, we have these containers that take out the CO2.
Right.
So those are really important, but this is where we mix them up. So we usually take 2 or 3 brands, usually 3 brands, sometimes as many as 5, and take a cup of each, then mix them all together. And as we go on through this process, our coffee kind of changes here and there. You get little surprises, but it's always a unique blend.
I like that idea, Nico. Not only that, when you think about it, you may be getting very different antioxidants and phytochemicals because many of these are growing.
Yeah, and we take them from different
species.
areas.
I like that idea.
And we certainly buy some from the Bulletproof guy. He has really good coffee. I do like it. I don't know if it's that much more
Premier
superior.
Research Labs has a phenomenal coffee that's you know, we actually use it to go in the other end.
Okay.
For the coffee enemas.
You're right. Yeah, for coffee enemas. I certainly use the green coffee for that.
Well, you know, it's not a green coffee, but we've figured out that it's a low roast. But anyways, speaking of roasting, or shade grown is another area.
Yeah, that's an important part because you don't want these things burning up in the hot sun. And most of these things are grown in latitudes below the Tropic of Cancer, Tropic of Capricorn, so closer to the equator in many instances. So shade grown is the best because they grow slow.
Right, shade grown. There's a lot of research, folks. This isn't just us using a fancy buzzword that shows the nutritive advantage of shade grown over conventional coffee, and that beans that grow under lychee shade had higher yields, greater phenolic content, and superior antioxidant activity than conventional beans.
Yes.
But after you grow them, you roast them.
You have to roast them after you pick them. Actually, you have to roast them, and it's a well-known fact that the antioxidant potential of a given coffee bean can vary considerably depending whether it is green,
which is known as raw coffee,
or roasted.
And studies have shown that while green coffee has the highest levels of chlorogenic acid, which is the really powerful antioxidant, a very desirable antioxidant, roasted coffees tend to have higher levels of protective antioxidants.
Wonder why this is. It must be a release of some kind that takes place.
Could be at the point of roasting. I
like
believe
marijuana.
That could happen.
You have to burn marijuana in order to get the release.
There you go.
You have to heat
I mean,
it
there we go. So, you know, here's another thing. Arabica versus Robusta. Ultimately, whether you choose Arabica or Robusta beans comes down to a personal taste.
Yeah, I mean, I go to the sign of the Arabica, and I don't know why, but they just seem to be a little bit smoother.
Arabica probably is how it's said.
Maybe it's from Arab countries,
coffee.
I think, originally.
Yeah, Arabica coffee. The antioxidant potential of each varies considerably depending on the region it was grown and the way it was processed and how it was roasted. And one thing that you can keep in mind is that Robusta generally has significant higher levels of caffeine.
Oh, I didn't know that. Depending on your needs and considering the fact that caffeine is an antioxidant itself, this may be more influential factor in choosing between the two because some people do prefer the decaffeinated. But, you know, one of the things I've noticed, and as we go through this article, we're going to be adding more things in our coffee, and that, to me, is when we're adding particular fats to the coffee, this kind of mellows it out. So the caffeine, even though you got a lot of caffeine there, it kind of stretches it out for like a 4 or 5 hour period.
That's exactly right, Nico. As I said at the beginning of this segment, coffee can be an excellent delivery system. I call it that sneaky way to get in things that I want my clients to get into their diet, such as gelatin and collagen and healthy fats. And I'm using that as a delivery mechanism. So here's that word, decaffeinated. Many of us have maybe perhaps pursued decaffeinated coffee because many powers that be have suggested that caffeine, an antioxidant, is bad for us. And it's true that caffeine can be a stressor, particularly if there's adrenal stress. So you have to really look at it from your own personal perspectives. But decaf coffee is still an okay choice, provided you choose it wisely.
Yes.
And
so
talk about maybe the methods of extraction, right?
Yeah, how do you get this caffeine out of there? And there's chemicals that are used in this.
That's true, can be.
Which you really probably don't want. So finding a decaf that doesn't use nasty chemicals to remove it is probably the name of the game. I know Dave Osprey has one that I tasted and tastes...
CO2, supercritical CO2 extraction, I think, yeah.
Yeah, so and it tastes quite good. Normally, I shy away from the decaffeinated. I just don't like the taste as much. But I think some of the methods for extracting the caffeine has improved over the years.
That's true.
And
if you find that it makes you jittery, it's okay. You're going to have a little lower antioxidant bang for your buck with decaf. But if it's making you jittery, then it's not for you. Although some of the things that we add to it can help mellow it out and slow it down.
Yeah.
I like this subject, storage, and you hit on that a few minutes ago.
Yes.
About the unique thing that you and Ellen create your own custom blends.
Yeah, but the containers are really important. Once you open that bag, the oxygen can get in there, and also carbon dioxide can get in there. So they do make containers. I got mine on Amazon. They're quite attractive, and they come in a couple of different sizes. So you can put your coffee in there. Once that bag is opened, empty the bag into it. Then you close that container. It's got a little valve in there, and it actually pulls out the carbon dioxide, which when the carbon dioxide actually mixes with the coffee and diminishes the antioxidants a little bit. So, and of course, mold can get in.
I think that's great. I think everybody should go check that out. I mean, food storage, I think, is an important thing. And whole beans are the best when you're talking about coffee, folks. And here's why. Listen to this. As the hygroscopic or moisture-retaining nature of coffee means that the less surface area you have, the longer it will retain its nutritional profile. And it'll keep the oxidation away. However, pre-ground coffees have a large surface area, so they're making it more prone to the coffee to become oxidized and rancid. Makes sense. And boy, is there a big difference. Buy yourself a, $10 coffee grinder and grind your beans fresh right before you brew your coffee.
Well, I got something to say about that when we come back.
Okay, we'll continue
so
about
stick
how
around,
to have
folks.
healthier coffee.
Number here is 877-927-6600. Give us a call if you're a coffee guy or gal.
Would like to tell you about the personal training studio that Nico is the owner and president of, Performance Training. Since 1998, Nico has trained individuals and groups to improve their health both mentally and physically. As a certified personal trainer, Nico's main focus is on demonstrating exercises correctly to avoid injury and teaching his clients how to manage their past injuries while getting the most out of their personal training sessions. The Performance Training Studio is filled with unique training equipment that enhances balanced results at a faster rate while minimizing damage and discomfort. For more information, you can give Nico a call at 727-418-8740 or email him at nico@tfnn.com. Let him know you heard him on TFNN and save up to $100 on a special package just for TFNN listeners. Act today.
Tiger TV is an exciting way to experience TFNN programming. See high-definition video, giving you crystal clear charts, as well as seeing some of the faces of TFNN's highly acclaimed financial experts with crisp, full-fidelity sound. Catch Tom O'Brien, John Logan, Steve Rhodes, Basil Chapman, Larry Pesavento, Think or Swim, David White, Andy Hecht, and Daryl Martin in crystal clear, high-definition audio and video. Tiger TV, exclusively at TFNN.com.
Has the current market volatility continued to stop you out of trades when the market spikes against you? Now is the perfect time to open up an account with Nadex. Nadex, the North American Derivatives Exchange, is a brand new, completely regulated Chicago-based exchange, and unlike most other exchanges, Nadex allows you to trade directly through them with direct market access when using their completely free trading platform, which also features real-time charts and full customization capability. One of the advantages of trading with Nadex in volatile markets is that your risk is always capped and you have the ability of keeping your trades open even when the market spikes against you. Nadex is completely brand new with a line of unique trading products that are unavailable anywhere else. See how it works at nadex.com. That's NADEX.com. Or click on the Nadex banner on the front page of TFNN.com. Futures and options trading involves risk and may not be appropriate for all investors.
Many of our new listeners have heard about The Tiger's Den. The Tiger's Den is a lively community where professional traders and investors can meet, exchange ideas and information in a comfortable, moderated atmosphere. Hear all of the TFNN shows, plus see all of the charts as they happen live and have access to archives of all of those charts. You can test drive The Tiger's Den absolutely free for 30 days and greatly enrich your knowledge of these markets and how to make your money work for you. Details on The Tiger's Den are on the front page of TFNN.com. This segment is brought to you by Think or Swim. For more information, just click the Think or Swim banner on the front page of TFNN.com.
So Nico and I are talking about how to have healthier coffee. We mentioned before the break that whole bean coffee is healthier for you because it keeps it doesn't get the moisture doesn't intrude because of the surface area, and it keeps the coffee healthier longer because coffee degrades relatively quickly. You don't want to be buying, the 20-pound bags. You should buy and open them, more frequently, and then buy adequate storage. As Nico mentioned, some of these airtight storage will help protect the coffee so that you get a healthier cup of coffee. And if you do happen to accidentally buy a large batch of coffee, you can store the bulk of it in, he mentioned store it in the freezer. Just make sure your storage vessel is thick and super duper airtight to avoid compromising flavor or allowing
I say
moisture.
Not the freezer, but the refrigerator would be okay. The freezer tends to dry it out. It takes the moisture out of the beans. I don't care what kind of container you have.
We can disagree, even with Mark sometimes.
But I have another contention to disagree. I don't want people going out to buy that cheap grinder.
Okay.
Those cheap grinders are little spinners, and those spinners heat up the coffee, and they make it rancid easier. It destroys the flavor. What you want is a nice slow burr grinder. A burr grinder is like having your knuckles together like this, and they grind them really slow without the heat, and they're made out of ceramic.
Okay.
The ones that spin are made out of metal. And no, you don't want that.
Yeah, well, that's kind of a point a lot of people make about blending, that can actually damage the antioxidants if you let it get too hot. So that's a good point.
And also,
I guess I'm talking about steps. If someone is going
and
from
we
still
did that,
buying,
believe me. I used those for quite a few years until I was finally told by a connoisseur that's, hey, wait a minute, you really need a good grinder for that. It does enhance the taste and the flavor. It's a little more expensive. They usually run over $100.
Oh, okay. So I'm trying to get people to start buying whole coffee versus ground, but I got you.
Yep.
So a burr grinder would be what the connoisseur would do.
That's the one. Exactly.
So we're going to get to the point of how to get. What can you add to your coffee? Like I said, I like to use it as a sneaky delivery system to get super nutrients in.
Remember the first thing that we always added, besides, of course, people use sugar, but if you're going to change the complexion of the coffee a little bit, we used to use cream.
I love cream.
Okay,
Real
and then
cream,
remember,
folks.
we used to, then the half and half came, and the skim milk came, and then the artificial ones came, and this is all due to that thing about
being afraid of cholesterol,
being afraid of fat.
And then all these artificial products were created. So coffee by itself is good. Nothing wrong with a pure black cup of coffee, as one of the commenters made. But coffee with strategic additions is even better, as I was sharing with you.
Agree.
Here are a few of the health-minded upgrades that may make your coffee not only better tasting, but actually better for you as well. And as we mentioned, the first one is real cream. Even better, real, raw, grass-fed cream from A1 cows would be my preference if you can get particular. What I don't want people to think is that any of these vegetable oil-based creamers, that is the epitome of a poor decision to add to your coffee. Real cream is the pinnacle of coffee excellence. Do not buy anything that has the words or the letters ER after the word cream.
Yeah, creamer. Yeah.
We want to get back to the real stuff, and boy, will you notice a big difference in that.
And then if you can get it grass-fed, that's even better. And if you can get it not pasteurized, and the heavy creams are not pasteurized, folks, so you can go and use those for sure. So there are some healthier alternatives.
Well, actually, that's not true. In the grocery store, the heavy creams in the grocery store are pasteurized. They're not homogenized.
Oh, okay.
Because there's no separation of the fat.
Yeah, okay.
So that's, unfortunately, stores still do. Now, because I get grass-fed raw cream, there's occasion that before my farmer can get it to me, I always keep my raw, and if I have to and I buy some heavy cream at the store, I add my raw to it and mix them together.
Oh, good
but here's some healthy cream alternatives. Cream is actually less allergic than the likes of milk. It still contains trace amounts of lactose and casein. Macadamia cream.
I've never tried that.
Well, I think as a nut milk, I prefer the idea of that over almond milk that everyone's kind of obsessing
they're in the
over.
bandwagon. Yeah.
because again, macadamia contains more of a saturated and monosaturated fat. It's almost as rich and fatty as dairy cream. Tahini is sesame.
Yes, sesame butter.
Mm-hmm. It's
Right.
also a decent cream substitute due to its high fat content. And it actually goes well with coffee.
I
You
would
might
think
want to
so.
try
That
it.
kind of nutty flavor anyway.
We also like coconut cream. Many people are enjoying that, but some people don't really like the taste. I like the taste of coconut. And you want to make sure any of these creams alternatives or coffee creamer alternatives, you're getting them with the least amount of additives. And I'm going to tell you, like, a lot of the coconut creamers are in the refrigerator section. You're almost better off to go to the Thai food section, and you buy it in a can, but you know what it says on there? Coconut cream, not Coregan and Flow and, you know, alginates and all this.
So it's not mixed with other stuff probably, too.
But
so
here's
that's
our
even better.
favorite, guys.
Yes, butter.
Butter. It's better with butter. Even coffee's better with butter.
Yeah, they even say it's less likely to provoke food allergies than cream, and it's almost as tasty. I think it's better tasting in a way.
And kind of beyond the bulletproof hype, quite frankly, folks, Nico and I were doing it even before the bulletproof guy. I know we were. I was adding collagen to my coffee. I had already gotten onto that even before he made it famous and cool.
Well, that's why we came up with the name Tiger Brew.
We were calling it Tiger Brew before everyone was talking about bulletproof coffee. But why do I think it's such a great idea? The main reason is it really helps us absorb the fat-soluble nutrients that are in coffee and the vitamins and healthy fats in the butter itself. You're actually getting a nice dose of these vitamin A that's in grass-fed butter, you know.
And this makes a lot of
K.
sense when you're thinking that these nutrients that are in coffee, which is a fruit, are fat-soluble. So when we add a natural fat to it, that sort of just extends it, blends it together, and it really evens the whole caffeine part out. It makes you satisfied, makes you not hungry, very alert, very brain active. I love the feeling of it.
It's true, because you're really absorbing things. But here's another one of my favorites, and that's adding collagen. And why do I think that's great? You know, we've really found that adding collagen to our coffee is a fabulous way to get a source of protein and rebuilding blocks for our body that we no longer get. And why is that? Because many people are getting the lean cuts of meat through their day when they have their, say, lunch and dinners, and they're missing the collagenous cuts of meat, the fatty, connective tissue that we need. And so I really enjoy suggesting to people that they find a way to get collagen in, and the collagen will dissolve. Hey, if you make chicken soup, you can add an ounce of it to your coffee, and it'll blend in
an ounce or two you can easily. Yeah, and I do that all the time. Here's another one that really enhances the taste of coffee, and that's cinnamon. 9 times out of 10, natural sweetness is enough to make up for any lack of sugar with the cinnamon. So, plus there's a fact that it can offset any blood sugar spikes.
Cinnamon is a fabulous spice for helping to bring glucose and hemoglobin A1C levels.
And it also cuts the sugar kind of in half, so you don't get that bunch of sugar. So if you're adding sugar, I would recommend honey.
The other one is cardamom, which also helps with digestion, and we really enjoy adding that. And cacao, which is your real natural forms of chocolate. Yeah. So guys, we've given you some great tips to make your coffee even better. So stick with us. We'll be right back with more news you can use.
Right.
You know what's cool? Taking something that's good for you. Something specifically formulated to help with weight loss, better sleep, stress reduction, and the need to detox.
Nico, our hunter and gatherer ancestors found all their nutritional requirements for health in their wild environment. But today, our food sources no longer contain the vitamins, minerals, and nutrients our bodies need to stay healthy and strong.
That's why we need Primal Edge Daily Nutrition. It includes a special blend of ionic, oil-based vitamins, minerals, fatty, and amino acids in an easy-to-use liquid form.
Primal Edge is powered by highly concentrated fulvic and humic acids, nature's preferred delivery system. They have been called miracle molecules because, like sunlight, air, and water, life cannot exist without them.
That's right, Paige. They ensure we receive all the nutrition we need to be healthy and thrive. We take it every morning.
Primal Edge, formulated and approved by Nico and Paige of Living a Primal Lifestyle. Buy it today for just $89. Click on the Primal Edge banner on the front page of TFNN.com.
No matter what kind of trader you are, 2018 is a great time to try out a subscription to Tom O'Brien's Gold Report. Whether you just plan on diversifying your portfolio with some exposure to gold and gold mining equities, or you're a gold bull that sees 2018 as the year of commodities, now is a great time to sign up for the Gold Report. Tom O'Brien publishes his Gold Report every Monday morning before the market opens and covers a variety of topics including gold, silver, platinum, copper, the XAU and HUI, the dollar, bonds, South African rand, as well as more than 20 of the most actively traded mining equities. Start your 2018 off with a bang and sign up for the Gold Report today. The Gold Report is a long-term newsletter where the focus is on building real wealth through the management of a successful portfolio of gold stocks. For all the details and to start your subscription right now, visit the front page of TFNN.com and you'll find the Gold Report under Investment Newsletters. David White's newsletter, The Technology Insider, is focused like a laser on finding the next big things in technology. If you had invested only $10,000 in Microsoft in 1986, you'd have been a millionaire by 2000. Disruptive technology like Microsoft's is the key to these massive long-term profits, and the Tech Insider is the vehicle from TFNN to capitalize on these opportunities. This is the go-to newsletter that identifies, monitors, and profits on mostly little-known cutting-edge companies with great long-term prospects. David's experience is as an inventor of Emmy-winning animation products for TV and Hollywood that propelled a company public. Match that with 14 years as a full-time trader, and he's uniquely qualified to guide you through the light-speed world of ever-evolving high-tech. If you're ready to ride the next big technology bull market for less than $40 per month, log on to TFNN.com and get your 2-week free trial to the Technology Insider. Get in on the ground floor of the next big thing today.
Don't forget, you can listen to TFNN live on your mobile device 24 hours per day. Go to TFNN.com, then hit Watch Tiger TV. That's TFNN.com, then hit Watch Tiger TV for the latest market information.
And welcome back to the show. Before we get off of coffee, I really wanted to mention them, and my producer alerted me to the fact that throw away your Keurig. You know, those ones that have the little capsules in there.
Oh, these little individual coffee cups. Who knows where they're getting that coffee? What's all in that liquid? Guys, these Keurigs and these capsule coffees, that's junk.
Also, you need to buy a good espresso machine or a good coffee machine. They're a little expensive, but instead of going to Starbucks and all these expensive places, this thing will pay for itself in no time. So, and it's really, really a nice little ritual that my wife and I go through making our espresso coffees in the morning.
You guys got the top dog coffee making set up there.
We got a couple of them. We got a little small little baby Gaggia, and then we have another one which is a titanium. It goes on the fritz every now and then, so we really like the other one, but they're both good, so that's the thing. So we really wanted to switch over now to everything you wanted to know about artificial sweeteners.
Yeah, we kind of covered the coffee, and the other thing that's just omnipresent is the artificial sweeteners.
Yeah, and there's a lot of myths about artificial sweeteners. The main one is that they're actually better for you than regular sugar.
Not so. Now, guys, this is an article out of popsci.com, so let's see how much of this is...
Well, they've been around for decades, these artificial sweeteners, and you know, we're finally at a point where we've studied them enough to understand roughly how they work and how they affect our bodies. There's been lots of studies on these things, and none of them seem to be very good.
Yeah, let's talk about it. You know, the pink, blue, and yellow packets. Guys, there's horror stories as far as I'm concerned surrounding each one of these. I'm very pleased to say now, though, that I'm starting to see, well, they're actually, at least they have one of the cane sugars in there. They're missing the blue or the aspartame. Maybe I see it peeking around the corner there, but more and more restaurants in my little town are offering stevia as in a green packet. So maybe
they have the natural sugar ones, which are the brown packets.
Yes, that's what I was just saying. Yeah, right. So, but you know, let's say, and the truth is we've seen a lot of connection of carcinogens in these sweeteners, and yet they are prolific in the processed food world. Is the whole cancer thing true? You know,
new studies are coming out that not only is it true, but all carbohydrates have an effect, especially brain and neck cancers. The two studies I was reading over the weekend show a direct correlation between people who have been injured in their neck and in their brain and going on to use products like this, and especially any type of processed carbohydrates, have a direct link to cancer coming back and returning. So they are starting to figure this thing out, and carbohydrates have to be used very, very carefully, in my estimation.
Yeah, so getting back to this article says, this science-based article says, is the whole cancer thing true? Their argument is, yes and no. The research says that some of these cause cancer. I've seen some pretty concerning, research on that. But the real question is, you may have to consume a really high amount of these, sources to experience that. But what we do know is that obesity is a major risk factor for many kinds of cancer. And so maybe we need to put the focus instead on the sucralose it is cancer causing via way of the
also,
obesity.
I think the tendency, Paige, is that when you're drinking this and you say, okay, now I'm using something that's not going to harm me, like an artificial sweetener, because there's less calories, your tendency is to consume more of it.
Well, it's so, and it also has a lot of really damaging brain signaling. So a lot of people think they should pick a diet soda over regular to lose weight, and they think that's right. Well, no, wrong. Just get rid of the sodas altogether.
Yeah, and it's been pretty much proven that diet sodas will make you hungry.
Well, they'll make you hungry, and that because they're using these artificial signals, they still signal the brain to anticipate something sweet.
Yes.
And that creates that fat storage. So we really recommend getting away from these sodas altogether. You can trick your taste buds into thinking that aspartame or saccharin is the sugar you crave, but to your brain, it isn't that simple. These chemical imposters do not substitute the glucose that our brain would be looking for. And remember, we can, through our ketone bodies and gluconeogenesis, we can make our own glucose. We don't need an exogenous source.
Yeah, more and more evidence is piling up that suggests the diet drink trend is misguided.
That's right.
Or as one 2008 study on obesity and artificial sweeteners asked in its conclusion, are artificial sweeteners fueling rather than fighting the very epidemic they are designed to block?
Wow, that's a powerful statement.
Yes,
so this is what we're seeing. It's just adding fuel to the fire, and there's been some other recent studies that suggest consuming fake sugar alternatives actually trains your insulin response to store more fat, the opposite of what we want. Basically, when you consume real sugar, your taste buds send an alert to your pancreas that says, hey, calories are on the way, prepare to produce insulin. And the insulin then helps break down the sugars, which either provide immediate energy, or if it's in excess, the body's going to go ahead and store it in the fat.
And
so
remember,
fat cells
it's
are going to grow.
always excess. There's always too much sugar. So your body can use a little bit of it immediately. It'll go right into your muscle areas and be stored in those areas. But the rest of it with the insulin combines together to tells the fat cell, open up, here I come.
Well, here's the problem. So let's go down this a little deeper. If your body interprets something as sweet when there's really no sugar on the table, such as with artificial sweeteners, it may end up producing that same insulin response. Interesting, many of these people who are running around drinking diet sodas thinking they're making a better choice are actually spiking their insulin because the body responds in the way. So that diet soda is still prompting your pancreas to store fat, even though you're not getting to enjoy real sugar. Your brain can tell the difference. Artificial sweeteners don't trigger our reward system the same way, and you don't get the satisfaction of ingesting sugar.
That's right, and on top of that, Paige, constantly pumping up your insulin response eventually leads it to malfunction.
That's what we've been teaching forever. This is essentially what happens in type 2 diabetes, but it can occur to a lesser but still harmful extent in otherwise healthy people. More and more people are becoming insulin resistant. One of the best books I ever read, and I love to share books, when it pops into my mind, was a great book, and I'm forgetting the author's name, but it's called Life Without Bread. Add that to your Amazon book list. Life Without Bread. It really, really explains why the power of moving towards intermittent fasting, less meals, smaller window of eating is so great, because you don't constantly have that insulin release yo-yo at higher levels.
Yes, the more artificial sweeteners people consume, the more weight they seem to put on. That suggests it might be the fake sugars themselves that prompt the gain in poundage and not just an association to it.
So in observational studies, you can't tell whether that's causative or not, but the real situation is that we're seeing that the strategy of why these artificial imposters were created is not creating the result that any of us want. So you might say now, okay, Paige and Nico, you got me convinced, it's time to give up the sodas, okay?
Yeah, those sodas and the artificial sweeteners, and of course, one of the things...
Or any kind of sugar, for that matter.
Well,
I mean,
they're all kind of
excess.
addictive, aren't they?
Sugar activates our reward circuits, guys. That's really it.
And the real whole point of coffee that we were talking about earlier, coffee is kind of that bitter kind of thing, and that's what I like, the taste of the bitterness. So that's why I never really use sugar in it, except in the afternoon. I kind of like to sweeten it up a little bit. But this is all good stuff. Stick around, folks. We've got another segment here. The number here is 877-927-6648. It's time to pick up your Primal Edge, folks.
That's right.
I'm certain you are or strive to be one of the best at everything you do in life. It's the most common trait that we tigers and tigresses share. If you're looking to become the best of the best when it comes to managing your money, let me teach you to do what most wealth managers tell you can't be done, which is how to time the markets. I'm Steve Rhodes, author of Mastering Probability, and for the last 12 months, Timer Digest has been tracking my newsletter signals, which have earned me the ranking as their #1 market timer in the nation for the S&P 500 for the last 12, 6, and 3 months. Timer Digest also ranks me as the #1 market timer for gold as well. The fact is, markets can be timed, and I'll teach you the exact set of tools that I use that has transformed me into one of the best at what I do. Sign up for Mastering Probability today by clicking on the newsletter tab on the homepage of TFNN.com and get immediate access to workshops where I take you step by step how to use an extraordinary set of tools, as well as provide great market calls too. Sign up today.
Hi folks, Tom O'Brien here. If you'd like to get my daily newsletter, Market Insights, then now is a great time to sign up for a 30-day free trial. Every morning by 9:30, I send out my morning letter to subscribers with market commentary on a variety of markets, currencies, and commodities to keep investors up to date on the day's trading action. Included in Market Insights are specific buy and sell recommendations for stocks, ETFs, and even options, with stops and price targets included for every trade in my newsletter. If you'd like to try my newsletter risk-free for 30 days, then head over to the front page of TFNN and you'll find Market Insights under Trading Newsletters. I use my years of trading experience to bisect and dissect the market every morning and give my subscribers the most important information they need to know for the day ahead. I even issue afternoon updates for my subscribers whenever warranted with important market action. I'm always scouring the market for the next great trading opportunity. Sign up for your 30-day free trial to my daily newsletter, Market Insights, today by visiting the front page of TFNN.com. Wow! Go get 'em, folks.
No matter where you're listening to TFNN programming, you can always access your favorite shows on demand through TFNN.com. TFNN airs live programming every market day from 8 a.m. till 6 p.m. Eastern, and you can view each program by accessing Tiger TV through our homepage. We even have an easy link for all mobile devices, including iPhones, iPads, and Android devices, located in the top right-hand corner of the TFNN homepage. You can use your smartphone to view Tiger TV, but if you don't have a connection that can keep up with streaming live video, then you can simply visit TFNN.mobi in the browser of your smartphone for live streaming audio of all our programs. The mission of TFNN is to educate our audience directly and interactively through our interactive website and call-in talk shows. TFNN is able to teach all levels of investors the technical skills needed to trade in today's marketplace. In order to get the best information possible, TFNN has assembled the most respected financial minds in the country to provide the most current news and comprehensive advice available. TFNN.com, educating investors.
So the thing about artificial sweeteners and even sugar itself is that they are addictive in a sense, and so we're kind of mentioning that. And remember that story, that famous story about the cocaine-addicted rats who preferred sweets over drugs? It was a 2007 study, and they ended up eating more calories when these rats were given a choice between the saccharin or cocaine. They actually picked the saccharin. It was more addictive than the cocaine. And this was all in the news, and everybody was crazy about it.
And they were so addicted to saccharin that the researchers wrote that they couldn't give the rats enough cocaine to overcome their desire for a hit of sweetness.
The same is true for real sugar.
So this is the case, guys.
So it's a very powerful addiction.
Addictive.
Yeah, and you can't underestimate it. You have to actually quit it. It's kind of like if you're quitting smoking cigarettes. That's very, very difficult. I think sugar is just as addictive, but don't get pulled into these artificial ones because they're just as addictive, and they actually probably do more damage in the long run than the sugar.
I totally agree. And many people will say that they're using these artificial sweeteners to fill in the gap while they quit sugar. Well,
kind of like a bridge, yeah.
And, you know, I don't like any of them. If they're blue or pink or yellow, I don't like them. I like stevia, but I'm going to confess that I think this could be true, that my use of stevia, which is an herb, it is not an artificial sweetener, it is just an herb that has a sweet taste, it may be doing the same thing. It's not fooling the brain. The brain, you can't fool Mother Nature. So I may be still staying in an insulin response due to the sweet taste.
Yeah, I think so. Well, here's the good news, folks. There is some good news, is that you can still get real sugar. You just have to use it in moderation. Satisfy the craving with a little mini candy bar, or maybe a little piece of cake, or maybe instead of overeating, you just...
sweet potato with some cinnamon on it?
Yeah, there you go. And or have your coffee with some whole cream and a little bit of sugar in it. Doesn't hurt you. Some honey might be a better prospect.
Well, honey has the probiotics. You know, you can have your cake and eat it too.
Or your coffee and drink it too.
That's right.
But the whole point is that we want to be sensible about this thing, and substituting things really never works. It's the same in the life. You can't substitute something.
The return to real food is what I say.
Real emotions. You can't have fake emotions. They're either real or they're not real. So, you know, we live in an upside-down world right now. We have to know what's good for us, and we're hoping through this show that you can do some of your own research and come up with your own solutions that are healthy.
And I was going to say, you know, while we were talking about that, we're really about making better choices. A lot of what we've shared was really inspired by Mark Sisson, the Primal Blueprint, and his website. And you shared a great video that I sent to some family members, some guys that I really want them to grasp, you know. I'll have what he's having. I mean, you look at Mark, I mean, who wouldn't have what Mark's having, right?
Mark
looks really awesome.
For sure. Yeah.
And you might want to follow his series, A Day in the Life of Keto. He has started, he gets asked so much, you know, what does a regular day of eating food look like for you? And, you know, especially since he went keto, he was really the founder of the Primal diet, but he has really moved on to the keto diet. So maybe you want to start following Mark Sisson. And we're excited because we're going to have our guest, Mark Hardcastle, next week on the show.
Pick up his book, The Symphony of Your Life. It's an easy read, it's inspirational, and it gives you some really good tools to kind of make your life a little bit better, putting you on the right track, having a positive attitude, and steering you in the right direction. I think it's really important that we base ourselves in some of the positive things that our ancestors used to do through stories, through dancing, through sound, get people together and bless each other and just be thankful that we're all together. And this is kind of what Mark is doing in this book.
That's right. The Symphony of Your Life, Restoring Harmony when
Tuesday.
Your world is out of tune.
Yep. Thanks for sticking around, folks. We'll see you in the next show. Bye-bye.
Since 1984, Basil Chapman has been using the Chapman Wave methodology to advise traders of his expert market opinion. While originally hand-drawing charts from the late 1970s into the 1980s, Basil noticed that prices under most circumstances virtually always had a certain number of legs to the upside before declining sharply. Later, Basil found that computer software, which included the standard market technical indicators, enhanced the degree of accuracy in calling price turns, as well as market trend calls. Thus was born the Chapman wave sequence. Using the Chapman wave methodology along with other indicators, Basil Chapman advises his subscribers of his expert market opinion each market day with his opening call newsletter. Right now, you can get a 2-week free trial to the opening call, Basil's daily trading newsletter, by visiting the front page of TFNN.com. Cancel at any time during that trial and pay absolutely nothing. Get your 2-week free trial to Basil's newsletter, The Opening Call, today by visiting TFNN.com.